What's going on, good people? It is your Bad Wolf, your international man of mystery, your man in blue. Well, I guess the roses are black. We'll have to deal with that for today. Otherwise known as your Bad Wolf. What's going on, guys? How are you? Now, I've put out a number of videos lately on how to get your mother, excuse me, your money back as nationals. See, for some of you guys out there who don't know this, and sadly enough, it goes for the trolls out there and even the clandestine little operations in some of these three-letter agencies that like to put bullshit underneath my videos. They're all nationals. We're all nationals too. That is the private side. But what are they defending? Well, they're defending the public, because they don't want to see their multi-trillion dollar operation have a severe dent in its financial intake, which at the same time means they've been bilking you guys and all of us, and then yet they want to maintain the charade instead of adapting and changing for the better. Hmm, imagine that. Well, we're here to say that we have our right to our rights, we have the freedom for freedom, and we want our liberty, because that is our liberty. With that being said, this particular video is about Form 843. One of the key forms that is used in getting your refund back. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Okay, well, if you've watched the other videos or downloaded the PDF, then you know that, and for the love of God, and most people are not going to like this, but it's the truth. Taxes are not illegal. They are not fraud. Stop with the stupid shite. Stop the fugazi. Come on now. I don't care how you feel. Prove it in law. Now, I'm not going to say that court cases have not been won in moments where fraudulent activities have taken place within the IRS system or within taxation. But taxing itself is not illegal. It's not unconstitutional. It's not fraud. You just don't know how to do business. You don't know how to do commerce. You entered into something and you didn't know what it was. You got into the van with the weird guy with the candy. You went to P. Diddy's house. You slept over by your uncle's house. Whatever it was, you did it and you didn't know what you were getting into. And it cost you. And it's still costing some of you guys. And it will continue to cost you if you don't know who you are and how to move. Plain and simple. It's all business, guys. It's all business. So, with that being said, not shabby. We're here to go over the Form 843. So let's take a look. And if you would be ever so kind, shake that behind. No, I'm just kidding. You can do that too. But hit that bell, like, and subscribe. Thank you in advance. And as always, guys, if you see anybody leaving any stupid comments or making stupid videos about me in any kind of negative way, don't forget to report them or the video or both for bullying, slander, defamation of character, and etc. Because you guys out there are the ones who help me to do what I'm doing. So I help you, you guys help me. I appreciate you guys in advance. And remember, I'm doing this for your freedoms. I already have this information. I'm already out here 20 steps ahead of the average person and a good five ahead of most others. But with that being said, I still need your help. So feel free to hit Black Site 32 for donations. Go to my main YouTube channel for the courses. Okay. We've got free courses you guys can take now on these things. Um, Hitting that bell, like, and subscribe is a small thing for you, but it's a big thing for me. It tells all of them out there I'm doing something right. You guys like it. So thank you in advance. All right, now let's get over there. All right. So as always, I like to show my work. So they say, and we are on the IRS.gov website. And this is about Form 843, claim for refund and request for abatement. Use Form 843 to claim a refund or request an abatement of certain taxes, interest, penalties, fees, and additions to tax. Get out of the way. You go sleepy now. Good night night. There you go. All right, so here's the form, guys. Now remember, it's not just the form. You're going to have to add additional information to it in order to justify what you're requesting. I already made videos on that. This right now is just basically about the form. We'll talk a little bit about the other stuff, but watch those other videos. Okay, so check the box below that indicates your reason for filing the Form 843. Abatement or refund of tax other than income, estate, or gift. Okay, so they're telling you that, at least with this first line, are you doing it for taxes, abatement, or a refund of tax other than income, as in federal income tax? Okay. Um, refund to abatement, refund of tax that cannot be claimed on any form except for 843. Refund to employee, refund employee, refund employee, refund to employee of Social Security, Medicare, or RRTA tax withheld in error, but only if your employer will not adjust the overcollection. And the RR is railroad. Okay. You guys have to read these forms. Penalty, abatement or refund of penalty or addition to tax due to reasonable cause or other reason allowed under law. Refund, penalty, interest. Okay, other abatement, penalties, tax, refund of branded prescription drug fee. You can get a refund on branded prescription drug fee, refund of annual fee on health insurance providers. It says caution, do not use Form 843 when you must use a different tax form. For example, do not use 843 to claim a refund or abatement of an overpayment of income taxes. So this one, they're telling you don't use this form to get your income taxes back. Okay, so this is not for income taxes, federal income taxes. Though technically you could mark other and then say it's for that reason, but they're telling you don't use this one for that. Okay, once again, that one is for the 1040X. All right. So then here you would put in all your basic information, indicate the type of fee of return. Um, and let's see, the claim or request involves penalty. Enter the Internal Revenue Code section in which the penalty is based. Check the box. Okay, we got interest and assessed as IRS errors or delays, penalty of additional tax written for the IRS, reasonable cause or other allowed under the law can be shown. None of the above apply. Okay. And then explain why you believe this claim or request should be allowed and show you how you computed it. Okay. So here's where you would put your information, show your homework, and then sign title. If you're doing it with your spouse, if you're doing it jointly, both of you guys are getting your things back. Your IRS PIN number if needed. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what chat has to say on using this. All right, let's get going.
Completing IRS Form 843 for a hypothetical 3-year refund claim. Executive Summary. Form 8 Request
Okay.
for abatement is an IRS form used to request a refund of amounts you already paid or an abatement, reduction/removal, of certain assessed, but potentially unpaid, taxes other than income/estate/gift, penalties, interest, and certain fees/additions to tax, in situations where the IRS and Treasury regulations direct you to use Form 843. It is not the form to claim a refund of income tax overpayments reported on a Form 1040 family return. Those generally require an amended income tax return such as Form 1040X. For a 3-year, educational hypothetical covering 3 tax years, the form is usually prepared as 3 separate Form 843 filings, one per tax period, because both the form and the instructions state that a separate Form 843 is generally required for each tax period/fee year, with limited exceptions, such as certain multi-year interest abatement situations. Refund claims are constrained by strict rules. 1. Overpayment credit/refund authority is in 26 U.S.C. Section 6402. 2. The time limits and look-back caps are in 26 U.S.C. Section 6511, and summarized in IRS guidance. 3. You generally cannot sue for a refund unless you first file a duly filed administrative claim under 26 U.S.C. Section 7422a, and 4. After a denial, you generally must file any refund suit within the time limits in 26 U.S.C. Section 6532a and related regulations. A Form 843 filing must be complete, specific, and verified under penalties of perjury, with attachments showing the computation and supporting evidence. False or excessive claims can carry penalties. Form 843's own perjury declaration and the instructions discussion of the erroneous refund claim penalty underscore the need for factual accuracy, and timeliness is often a decisive issue. When Form 843 is appropriate versus Form 1040X. Core Vehicle Rule. The instructions for Form 843 emphasize: use Form 843 to claim a refund or request abatement of certain taxes, penalties, additions to tax, interest, and fees. Do not use Form 843 to request an abatement of income, estate, or gift tax, and do not use Form 843 to request a refund of income tax or additional Medicare tax. To change amounts on an individual income tax return, Forms 1040/1040SR/1040NR etc., use Form 1040X. Treasury refund claim regulations align with this structure. Claims must be filed on the prescribed form, and claims for refund/abatement not otherwise provided for are generally made on Form 843. Practical Decision Framework, High Level. Use this framework before you start filling anything out. Use Form 1040X, not Form 843, when you are correcting income tax on an individual return, changing income, deductions, credits, withholding credits, etc. Use Form 843 when the claim is for one of the Form 843 categories, most commonly penalty abatement/refund due to reasonable cause or other reason allowed under law, or specific penalties listed on the form, e.g., trust fund recovery penalty. Interest abatement/refund in limited statutory situations, e.g., interest due to IRS error/delay under Section 6404, E1, or net interest rate of 0 requests, Reverend Proc. 200026. Certain employee claims for excess Social Security Medicare/RRTA withheld when the employer will not adjust the overcollection. Common wrong form pitfall. A taxpayer tries to use Form 843 to seek a refund of income tax overpayment. The Form 843 instructions explicitly say not to do that, and direct you to other forms, like Form 1040X, depending on the tax. Deadlines, the 3-year look-back, and the refund statute expiration date. What actually controls the deadline? The legal rules are in 26 U.S.C. Section 6511. Generally, a claim must be filed within 3 years from the time the return was filed or 2 years from the time the tax was paid, whichever expires later, with additional rules that can cap how much is recoverable depending on when you file. Form 843's instructions restate the 3-year per 2-year concept and point to IRS guidance for more information. The IRS's public explanation also highlights the 2 key ideas. File within 3 years of filing your return. Refundable amount generally limited to what you paid within the prior 3 years, plus extensions. File after 2 years from paying the tax, and not within 3 years of filing. Refundable amount generally limited to what you paid within the prior 2 years. How to compute a 3-year educational scenario. Because 3-year refund claim can mean either A. 3 tax periods, 3 years, or B. A claim filed within the 3-year window. This report assumes the first. You're preparing claims for 3 separate tax years. For each year, each Form 843, compute. Identify the tax period, e.g., calendar year 2023, January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. The form requires a tax period and instructs you to prepare a separate Form 843 per tax period/fee year. Identify the payment dates you want refunded, line 3. This matters because Section 6511 keys off payment timing and filing timing. Determine whether the claim is filed within the 3-year rule or 2-year rule under Section 6511A. Apply the look-back cap, also in Section 6511, to confirm the amounts you're claiming were paid within the relevant look-back window. RSED, Refund Statute Expiration Date, in plain terms. The RSED is a practical label for the last date the IRS can legally allow a refund claim under the statute of limitations rules, usually the same 3-year per 2-year structure. IRS guidance describes the same practical outcome: miss the deadline and you generally cannot receive a refund/credit. Important nuance for Form 843 claims involving penalties/interest. Payment dates may be different from return filing dates. For example, if you are requesting a refund of interest you already paid, Publication 556 notes the same 3 years from the return filing date or 2 years from the date you paid the interest, whichever is later, and also notes distinct rules when interest has not been paid. Step-by-step line-by-line instructions for completing Form 843. This section gives a structured, how to fill it out walkthrough using a coherent educational scenario. Hypothetical scenario: you paid a failure to file penalty, or similar assessed penalty, for each of 3 tax years and now seek a refund of the penalty amounts you paid, asserting reasonable cause. This is one of the Form 843 penalty categories: abatement or refund of a penalty, due to reasonable cause or other reason allowed under the law. Before you start, how many forms? Usually, 3 forms. Form 843 states, prepare a separate Form 843 for each tax period or fee year. The instructions reiterate that you generally must file a separate Form 843 for each tax period, with limited exceptions. So for 3 years, example, 2022, 2023, 2024, you typically prepare Form 843 for January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. Form 843 for January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. Form 843 for January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Top check boxes, reason for filing. At the top of Form 843, you must check one box indicating your reason for filing. The instructions warn not to check more than one. For this penalty refund example, check the penalty box for abatement or refund of a penalty, due to reasonable cause or other reason allowed under the law. Sample placeholder, Year 1 tax, ballot box with check penalty, abatement or refund of a penalty, due to reasonable cause, interest, other. Name and identifying information block. Fill in. Name of person requesting refund/abatement, SSN, or ITIN. Spouse name/SSN if relating to a joint return. Mailing address, telephone number, and EIN if applicable, business entity. Sample placeholder, name, A. Example taxpayer SSN 000-00-0000, placeholder, address, 123, Example Street, Example City, ST00000, daytime phone, 000-000-0000. Line 1, tax period or fee year, dates. Line 1 asks you to enter the tax period or fee year, and the form notes you should prepare a separate Form 843 per period. Instructions clarify: enter the tax period for which you're making the claim. Sample placeholder: calendar year 2023 beginning date, January 1, 2023 ending date, December 31, 2023. Line 2, amount to be refunded or abated. Enter the dollar amount you want refunded, money back, or abated, removed if not yet paid. Sample placeholder: line 2, $450. Tip for a 3-year filing: repeat this with the correct amount for each year's Form 843, and ensure your line 8 explanation and attachments show the computation year by year. Line 3, dates of payments. If you are requesting a refund of payments already made, list each payment date on line 3, attach additional sheets if needed. Sample placeholders: line 3, A June 15, 2024, line 3, B August 20, 2024, attach a sheet if there are more. Why it matters: Section 6511 uses payment timing in determining timeliness and the look-back cap, so your line 3 is not just administrative, it often becomes legally important. Line 4, type of tax or fee, and check only one. Line 4 asks you to check the type of tax/fee for which you seek a refund/abatement, or, if you are claiming interest/penalty/addition, the type of tax/fee to which that penalty relates. The form instructs you to check only one box unless an exception applies. For a penalty tied to an individual income tax return, you would typically check the income category because the penalty is related to that tax type, even though you are not filing income tax refund on Form 843. This is consistent with the form's instruction that line 4 can reflect the related tax type for penalties/interest. Sample placeholder: line 4, ballot box with check income. Line 5, related return type, if any. Line 5 asks for the type of return related to the tax/interest/penalty. It also contains a check only one instruction unless an exception applies. For penalties related to an individual income tax return, the form provides a 1040 checkbox, and the instructions clarify that checking 1040 can indicate other individual income tax returns as well, e.g., 1040 SR, 1040 NR. Sample placeholder: line 5, ballot box with check 1040. Line 6, penalty code section, penalty claims. If your claim involves a penalty, line 6 asks for the Internal Revenue Code section the penalty is based on. The instructions note you can generally find it on the notice of assessment you received. Sample placeholder: line 6, section 6651, A1, example only, use the section shown on your notice. Line 7, reason for refund/abatement, checkbox is a D. Form 843 provides 4 options, you pick the one that matches your legal basis. A. IRS errors/delays, interest. B. Erroneous written advice, penalty/addition. C. Reasonable cause/other reason allowed under law. D. None apply. Sample placeholder: reasonable cause penalty relief, line 7, ballot box with check C, reasonable cause or other reason allowed under the law can be shown. Line 8, explanation, computation, and attachments, the make or break section. Line 8 requires you to explain in detail why the claim should be allowed. Show how you computed the line 2 amount. Attach additional sheets if needed. Put name and TIN on attachments. Attach appropriate supporting evidence. Treasury regulations reinforce the same idea: claims must state grounds and facts with enough detail to apprise the IRS of the exact basis, and must be verified under penalties of perjury. A non-compliant claim may not be treated as a claim for any purpose. What to write: sample placeholder text for line 8 attachment. Statement for line 8, tax year 2023, penalty refund claim. I request a refund, or abatement, as applicable, of the penalty assessed under IRC section, from notice, for tax period January 1, 2023 to December 31, 2023. Reason: reasonable cause exists because, brief factual reason, dates, events. Computation, penalty paid on, dates, total dollar, amount, as shown by the enclosed IRS notice and payment records. Supporting facts, concise timeline, reference to attached evidence. Requested action, refund dollar, amount, line 2, for this tax period. This satisfies the form's demand for an explanation and computation, while aligning with the regulation's specificity expectation. Signature and perjury verification. Form 843 includes a perjury declaration directly on the form. Under penalties of perjury, I declare. You must sign and date it. Joint return-related filings generally require both spouses' signatures. Business entities have their own signature rules as stated on the form.
All right, all right, all right. So much more from that. Just as required, attach all of your documents. A copy of the notice showing the penalty of type, code section, line 6, proof of payment for each line, um, computations, support, documents, hospitalization records, natural disaster, and incapacity evidence, correspondence with the IRS, um, where to file. So here they're kind of telling you which locations to send it to, depending on what annual health fee, net interest rate of zero request, prescription. Okay. This will all also be on your instruction form with the 843. Okay. So that's why I'm not going to just go through and read it all because you can get that. Publication 556 describes how refund claims are handled in general. So you can kind of get an idea of your timelines and whatever else. If it's denied, you can go through the appeals and litigation. You have to do the appeals first. Okay. And your claim is denied, they don't do anything for up to 6 months. Okay. Appeal it, then go to litigation. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you guys see where an agency, a police officer, a corrupt or dirty one, let me express that, or the GOV, if you guys see any agency, which they almost never do, if you see where somebody's like, oh, they were caught doing this, or they admit guilt, or they admit to getting rid of or deleting emails, texts, files, or shredding evidence, you guys do know they're not going to go after themselves in court, right? You guys do know that you as American people, one of you guys, somebody out there, person or group or whatever, you do know you're supposed to go after them based on that easy win. This is one of the reasons why they almost never admit guilt because they don't have to. But if they do, or a news crew is like, yeah, we found evidence of this, you know you're supposed to sue them, right? You, you know that should be a class action lawsuit. Somebody out there needs to start understanding that when these things happen, you create a class action lawsuit and do it on behalf of the people. You're 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 that. How do you think they're supposed to be held accountable? They're not going to hold themselves accountable. Nobody's holding them accountable because none of the people are filing lawsuits against them. Hey, this was done illegally. Hey, you deleted these emails. Hey, you're supposed to go after them in the courts. Interest on overpayments. Okay. And it gives you some tools. Refund to employee of excess Social Security, Medicare, and railroad. Okay. So that's basically it, guys. That is it. That is your basic overview on how to fill out Form 843 for a refund and request for abatement. Use it wisely. Do not try to scam these people. If you know, if you're in the know, then you know who qualifies for this, and that now you guys can do it. So I'll talk to you guys later. We're gonna bring the 1040X up next. I will see you guys back in 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery. Take care, guys. Enjoy. Remember, always try to communicate things with your partner, your friends, your people, anybody worthwhile. Don't let anybody use you. We've all been there. Unfortunately, it's part of the human experience. It's not something that is your final definition of who you are, but do better. Stop assuming everybody has the same light as you and everybody wants the same things as you. But when you do find somebody even remotely on your same path that is good to you, that shines similar to you, work a little extra for those people. Stop trying to, and one of the things that, and I can say this because she doesn't watch my videos. Um, one of the things my girl, my lady, has been guilty of until recently, in which case she's told me over the last number of years I've changed her life, but she still doesn't like to hear all of my advice. Okay, so that's why I love you guys. Is guilty of trying to entertain the village, trying to be everybody's shining light and inspiration, and just watering her home life and other things just enough. There's no shame in that. It's not a horrible thing, but you need to take care of your home life 3 times better than you take care of the rest of the world. Your garden at home is what feeds you. The village is what is entertained by you. You may think that you're changing the devil, but you'll find out slowly the devil's been changing you, but not you. You're different. You're special. You know the devil when you see him. You're not going to beat the creator of the game, but you can think so. But that in itself is also the trick, the trap, the subterfuge. Come on in. The water's fine, said Diddy. I'll catch you guys next time. Don't forget to join me over on Badwolf Unrestricted on YouTube. Let's get it in, guys.